Hey everyone, I know the videos I've been coming out with lately are mostly pretty low tech through webcams, but I've been working on my super video, you could call it, which is Globalization and Revolution. That should be coming out in a few days. And I'm also hoping to come out with a video about the economics of the nuclear family, if it's not too controversial and my parents will let me upload it. But right now I want to talk about something that would make Hayek smile if he was still alive, which is from the Reason.com website, which is the website of the Reason magazine. Quote, for more than 10 years, health researchers have been stumped by an enzyme that helps retroviral infections like AIDS reproduce. Biologists studying the enzyme were unable to model its shape, a crucial first step in figuring out how to beat it. And so what these scientists did is create a video game and put it online so that video gamers could compete to try to find the model enzyme that would work in this situation. And you would get more points if you created a closer to model enzyme. And why Hayek would be smiling, and why anyone who, and I mean people on both left and right, probably look at this and say, wow, that's great. And everyone who sees this and thinks, wow, how great this is, they should understand the price system parallels to this, which is under a free market in the price system, we have the free market, which is kind of the video game, and in it people compete to make the model, which would be the ideal product, whether it's ideally pretty, ideally tasty, try to make the model product, and if they make a more modeled product, they get more points for it. Same idea as here. And so it's ironic because when I did a video about Occupy Dartmouth, which was outside the Republican presidential debate at Dartmouth, they were chanting, there was a large group of students chanting, the GOP can end HIV. And even though the GOP didn't really end HIV, the ideas of the GOP, or more of the GOP, which is free markets, is helping to cure AIDS. Here, the parallels of the price system in this are too large to ignore, and this idea of the distributed knowledge across the nation and the way the price system and incentives can reward that knowledge and bring it together is the idea behind this, and it can help solve so many more problems in a free market sense. Now I just want to quickly talk about also this from the second to latest issue of The Atlantic. This is the video I was going to get out about the Soviet-Russian welfare ideas. I just want to read you this quote and then quickly talk about it in context of the welfare state as it's currently set up. Quote, take 1940s Russia, which lost some 20 million people and 7 million women to World War II. In order to replenish the population, the state instituted an aggressive pro-natalist policy to support single mothers. Mai Nakachi, a historian at Hokkaido University in Japan, has outlined its components. Mothers were given generous subsidies and often put up in special sanatoria during pregnancy and childbirth. The state daycare system expanded to cover most children from infancy, and penalties were brandished for anyone who perpetrated the stigma against conceiving out of wedlock. In 1944, a new family law was passed, which essentially freed men from responsibility for illegitimate children. In effect, the state took on the role as husband. As a result of this policy and the general dearth of males, men moved at will from house to house, where they were expected to do nothing and were treated like kings. A generation of children were raised without reliable fathers, and women became the responsible gender. This family pattern was felt for decades after the war. Now, obviously, there are some differences between what the United States has been doing and what Russia is doing. Of course, there's no law that actually says you can't perpetrate the stigma against illegitimate childbirth or whatever, which I don't really like using that term. But Walter Williams has pointed out how culturally, how morals are much more important than laws. Morals are the first line of defense. Laws should be last. And so the moral line of defense against single motherhood and teenage pregnancy and etc. has already been removed. So a large part, we've already accomplished a large part of that aspect. And also we do pay subsidies to single mothers, and the state has taken on the role as father in the situation usually. There's a lot of deadbeat dads who have really no responsibility for their illegitimate children. As well as a progressive goal for a long time has been expanding it to provide universal daycare, and this was something else the Russians did here. They provided universal daycare. And so really, well, when I talked about this to my parents originally, they said, you know, well, our intentions are different, right? Doesn't that make a difference? We intend to help mothers and children. They were intending to get illegitimate childbirth and single motherhood. Well, isn't the definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result? So if we're doing the exact same things as the Russians did, and expecting a different result, isn't that kind of insanity? So even the far left, redistributive Soviet communist Russians understood that the welfare state, the way it's set up here and there, incentivizes single motherhood and the decay of the family and whatnot. So it seems to be insightful. It's not breaking any new ground for conservatives and libertarians who already understood this. But for people on the left who support these policies, even people on the left, the far left, admitted this. And so, yes, free markets rock, government intervention knocks, and enterprise system barriers, making the situation hairier. Being kind of a rambling video, but I just wanted to get it uploaded. Happy Thanksgiving.